Cracks me up. Jim Cantori's always standing in the middle of like deep water on the Weather Channel. I'd love to have that job though. That'd be so fun. Post here. And then over here. All right. Well, hey, everybody. We are live here on a Wednesday night with Katelyn up in Pennsylvania, getting ready to talk about her trip to Pop Century a couple weeks ago, last week, right? Yeah, yep. Still last week. It'll be a couple weeks by the time we have the show go out. So close that. All right. Let's see here. Shout out to everybody over on Instagram, DD Steck, Corwin of Amber, Katelyn, Moss Treats, Gloria 21, everybody over there. Hey, happy Wednesday. All right, so we are going to get cracking here and talk some Disney. So just hang out with us. You know what? I'm going to drop the spider down. It's Halloween. Let's see here. Where's that old spider? I paid extra for him. Boop. There he is. I paid $14 for that kit. I'm going to use it. Okay. All righty. Let's see here. All right. Here we go. 2572. Welcome to episode 2572 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope everybody had a great weekend and that things are settling down for all of our friends down in Florida with the big storm that passed through late last week. Again, our thoughts and prayers with everybody down there. Just hope everything is getting back to normal. Today, we're going to kick off the week as we have been doing here for over 16 years on the Be Our Guest podcast. It's trip report time. It's time to take a virtual trip to our favorite destinations. And today we're heading down to Central Florida to Walt Disney World. And Katelyn is our guest. We're headed up to Pennsylvania. Katelyn, happy Monday. What's going on?
Happy Monday. We are just glad that we are done with Disney and not there now. But still having our Disney blues. I have my water in my resort mug. Just still living that life.
That's what I said, because we had actually, it wasn't a cancellation. It was a dumb move on Mike's fault here, because I double booked a guest. I contacted her. I said, hey, we're good to go on Monday, right? As I always send the email out the week before. She's like, no, wait, on Wednesday, I'll be at Walt Disney World. You told me February, and I looked, and she's right. She's on the books for February and this night that we were going to record. I don't know why I put her in two different spots. And so amazingly enough, you emailed an hour later and I said, hey, you want to do a show? And so this is going to be fun because you were just there last week as we're recording. So we get some like very current information. We could talk about what things were like as this show comes out about 10 days ago. So it's fun to hear about how things are right now at Walt Disney World. Of course, like we said, when we connected, you picked you kind of dodged the bullet with, of course, Milton and all the excitement that happened just late last week. But we're glad that everybody, made it through as best they could this past week. But you definitely dodged a bullet. And let me ask you this: how was the weather while you were there the week before Milton?
It was hot, typical Florida, hot and humid. But it was nice. We had two little bits of rain that we actually kind of dodged, so we didn't actually get wet. But other than that, we had beautiful weather, but it was hot for sure. There was a lot of outfit changes for the family.
Yeah, this time of year, I mean, it can be still smoking hot because because the weather starts to change, like up in Pennsylvania where you are. I'm in Missouri. This is the time where like the evenings start to get a little crisp. The mornings are crisp. Starts to feel really good. I think a lot of us forget that when you go down to Florida, even in September, October, even into November, it still gets hot. I mean, the runners that run Wine and Dine. I've run a really hot race, in the first or second week of November. So yeah, just know that fall doesn't come to Florida like it does the Midwest. So just
no,
be ready
definitely
for that.
but it was so good.
So let's get into it. Before we do though, let's talk about your background with Disney. So what finds you listening to Disney podcasts? How'd the fandom start for you?
So I started listening to this particular podcast prior to our trip. We were planning a trip for 2021. So during COVID, when, everyone's stuck at home, kind of found your podcast, started listening, and kind of spiraled from there. I spent a lot of time in the car for work, so plenty of time to stay caught up on all the podcasts. But that was really a helpful thing for planning that trip in 2021. I'm kind of the planner of the family, so I'm generally responsible. And that trip had my sister and her husband and children and my parents. So there was a lot of people. I needed to give everyone all the information. And it had been a long time since I'd been to Disney World at that point. I went as a kid a couple times, but I hadn't been as an adult. And I love the podcast, so I kept listening to, get ready for our trip that we just went on. So that's really where it all started.
I appreciate that so much. So let me ask you this, because I think that you are speaking to the choir here as far as enjoying the planning process that kind of makes the experience longer, right? Because you get to Walt Disney World and the trip goes light speed. It feels like you check in and time just speeds up like times 10. And then all of a sudden you're checking out and everything goes by. But if you enjoy the whole process, right? Even before you book, the whole, should we stay at Coronado Springs, talking at dinner,
Oh yeah.
I can't even say the word, but, like deciding like, do I want to stay at Coronado Springs or Pop Century, or, do we want to try All-Star Sports this time? And having those discussions even before you place your deposit, I think you make the whole overall experience longer. And then even after you book, you say, okay, well, let's talk dining now, 180 days before the 60-day mark, and start having discussions as far as, okay, by 60 days, we have to have this all nailed down so we can make ADRs. But is that kind of the game you like to play, as far as that's the stuff that really gets you excited when it comes to a Disney trip?
Yeah, we're already, like, my husband and I sending the reels back and forth from Instagram of, hey, look at this resort. Maybe we should stay here next time. Or, hey, we might have missed this. Did you know about this? Do we need to go back like tomorrow? Or
I think that's what's fun about Walt Disney World, and, specifically even over Disneyland, is that you have so many different options that, I've been to Walt Disney World many, many times, but even like Coronado Springs right now is probably my favorite resort. Just currently, Riverside was my jam for a long time, and I love Pop Century, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. I land there all the time. And I love French Quarter. I mean, I've had so many favorite resorts, but like Coronado Springs, sometimes I just like, I got to stay in the ranchos, that section.
Yeah.
But then I built Grand Destino Tower, and now I'm like, I got to stay in the tower. It's only a few bucks more, and it's so much fancier. But the thing is, even within one resort at Walt Disney World, I can have different experiences. Then I have over 20 resorts that if I can catch a discount, an upgrade over to Wilderness Lodge, or Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's only a couple bucks more a night. It's just
the Disney
in the games, because then you start, you have a budget, right? Everybody knows on the show, I'm very frugal, but then I say, okay, well, if I upgrade the hotel, I can do that if I, steal money from this, I don't go to this fancy meal. I just eat counter service for a couple of days, and you start playing with the budget. And that's kind of the game I think we all like to play, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of fun of a Disney trip. Do other destinations have stuff like, I wonder, because I only go to Disney most of the time, but I mean, like if you go to Yellowstone, I don't think you have as many variables. I don't know, like, or Vegas. I don't know. People that go to Vegas, do they do all these kind of things? I have no idea. I've never done it.
On a different scale, but a little bit. But not a
like, is this just a Disney thing? Like everybody's like always thinking about all the, we got to, where are we going to eat, next year? I don't know. Probably just go down and get the buffet. I have no idea. Anyway, so let's talk about this trip. So how did this trip come together that you went on just a week and a half ago?
Yeah. So we went on our 2021 trip. My oldest son was 2.5. So we decided, we had another child in 2022, and we decided when he was about 2, we wanted to go back. So that way our oldest is now 6. So obviously he can ride so much more than he could on our last trip. And then 2.5 was just such a fun age, it's very magical to them. So we decided this was it. We went in April in 2021, so we wanted to go in a different season this time, just to experience, like you said, you can experience a whole different trip just going at a different time or at a different resort. So we chose Halloween and decided we wanted to check out all the Halloween decorations, do the Halloween party, and that's really how this trip came to be.
Nice. So you decided, and your parents joined you. They drove down from South Carolina. So how did you kind of organize that, getting everybody together on the same page as far as planning everything together there?
That was a little interesting. My family had planned on going, and then probably 3 months ago, maybe 4 prior to our trip, my mom called me one day. She's like, I know you guys are going to Disney World. And they came with us on the last trip. Like, we didn't get to see my youngest. We didn't get to see him experience Disney. So could we come for just like the first 3 days? Like, sure, here's where we're staying. Let me know when you're staying so I know what ADRs I need to include you on. And, here's all the details. And that's how that came about.
That's a good idea. I mean, because I like this idea. You don't have to be there the whole time, but it get to share some time. It's kind of like it's like a split vacation, not a split, but like a split experience, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure that they adored the time with their grandkids. I mean, that's just that's
they did, yeah. And it was nice for us because they could hang out with the little one. So my husband and I could take our 6-year-old on some of the more fun attractions that we didn't get to do before or that are new, that we could all do, like the 3 of us together. So that was fun too.
Cool. Can't wait to ask about what the 6-year-old really enjoyed. We'll get to that. So let's talk about, you guys stayed at Pop Century.
Mm-hmm.
Again, love the place. And I think it's perfect. I'm just guessing it was perfect for like your demo, right? I mean, like younger kids.
Yeah.
I mean, because we grew up going there since the year it opened. I was just looking back, we're talking about the hurricane and everything. And I was looking back at pictures. We wrote out Hurricane Charlie in 2004 at Pop Century. I can't believe that was 20 years ago. I've only aged like 3 years since then. It's like, it's one of those things, like we've stayed there so many times over the last 23 or so years since it opened. And it's just, it feels like it's never gotten old. It's always it's colorful. It's bright. It's fun. It's got cool music.
Yeah.
It's got it all for me. And the Skyliner wasn't there back then. The Skyliner made it 10 times better. I don't know. What did you think about your stay there?
So we really like it. It's like big enough, but also everything's easy to find. It's easy to get around. It's fun, like you said, the theming and everything is fun for the kids. The little playground there and the Goofy with the cars is fun. And my boys love cars, so we can walk over to Art of Animation, every day and look at the cars section there. The Skyliner is really the selling point, and the price point, obviously. To get the Skyliner and at the value resort price is a big thing, but we love the Skyliner, so that's really why we love Pop too.
The thing is, I loved Pop before the Skyliner, but then I was there the day the Skyliner opened. I went down just for that because I was like, this thing is going to be awesome. It really is. It's like a ride to get to the rides to me. It's like when I was a kid, I remember we went one day, I was in 5th grade, and I remember riding the monorail. And like, as a 5th grader from Missouri that had never been to Walt Disney World, I thought the monorail was a ride. I didn't know any better. I mean, it was so cool looking, to somebody that only had been to Six Flags. I mean, if you put that thing in Six Flags, that's a ride. Like it's not a transportation system. That thing is slick and cool, and you're going through the middle of a hotel. It's not a ride, so whatever. I thought so. Okay, so you guys get there, and let's talk about some time in the theme park. So you guys, it looks like you had 4-day hoppers, and we'll talk about the Halloween party. You did that as well, but what was your plan for theme parks while you were down there?
So because my parents were only there with us Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we were doing the party Tuesday. So Sunday and Monday, we wanted to hit all 4 parks, which we also, 6 and a 2-year-old. So this was a lot, but we wanted to do all 4 parks, but also knew we weren't going to actually do much in all 4 parks. We were kind of just like sampling. So we did get the Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass. That way we kind of already knew we didn't have to wait in long lines because we obviously didn't have time for that. So we started with Magic Kingdom. And every day for these parks, we did early entry. Spent a couple hours in there, got in, I guess at Magic Kingdom, we had really good Lightning Lane times. Like as soon as the park opened, we were at well, before it opened, we hit Small World, hit the bathroom because, toddler. And then we had like, I think 9:10, we had Haunted Mansion. Right after that, we had Pirates. So we grabbed like a breakfast sandwich on the walk over to Pirates, which was, I asked my 2-year-old before we got on here what his favorite thing was. And he said the pirate boat. So Pirates was his favorite.
That's a good call though. I mean, you know what? Because like Pirates is dark. It's got a little hill to it. It's, it's a little spooky. So I think it could go 50-50, whether a kid freaks out on that ride or enjoys it. So it's lucky, I think.
And then I'm trying to think what else that day. We had single passes for Tron. The standby line wasn't that bad, but with having the little ones, we needed to take turns. My parents wanted to do it too. So we had to go 2 and 2. So obviously just skipping the line was the better option. We loved Tron. We would have done it a bunch more times if we could, but it worked out well because my toddler fell asleep. And then when we were off, my husband took my 6-year-old on some stuff. And then we were able to take my 6-year-old on Tiana's. So that was fun for him. He got to ride it with us and the grandparents. That was that morning. Just got some quick lunch at Pecos Bill's. My 6-year-old is a very adventurous eater, loves rice and beans. So a bowl of rice and beans with some chicken in was like exactly what he wanted.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I could eat the same thing.
Yeah, so we did all that and, hit a couple little things here and there. And then we went back to the resort just so everyone could kind of relax and take a little break. And then we hit Hollywood Studios that evening, which worked out really great. We had an ADR at Roundup Rodeo, which was great. We loved that meal. But we got to the park maybe 45 minutes, an hour before our ADR time. But we headed back to Toy Story Land a while, and we hit Aliens Flying Saucer, and we looked over, and Toy Story Mania had a 20-minute wait. So we ran into that quick. And then after dinner, just walked through Galaxy's Edge and, kind of experience the park without doing many attractions. We tried to do Mickey and Minnie's that evening, but we got stuck on the ride. But I think we all were singing the Nothing Can Stop Me Now song in our sleep that night because it just played on repeat the whole time until they evacuated us off the ride.
I was going to ask you that because that song is catchy as it is. Like if you only hear it one time when you're on the ride, it's catchy. It's stuck in you. It's an earworm. I was saying, oh my gosh, it's almost as bad as Small World. Oh, you poor thing.
But that whole experience worked out great. They got us off and we got the multi experience pass then. And since it was the park closing, we got to use it the next day. So the next day in the evening, we were going to Epcot, and obviously like Frozen, Remy, all that was going to be a crazy line. So we actually got to use that on Frozen. So we got to do that, which was fun.
I mean, I guess that's how they keep you from saying that's cruel and unusual punishment. They're like, hey, here's a multi-experience pass. Don't come at us for that torture.
It was a little bit. But we survived.
Everybody's gonna come at me and say it's a great song. It is a great song once.
Yes. After 40 minutes, I think it was, we're like, all right, we got it.
Well, if you're stuck at the very end, that little bird doing the little,
we were right at the beginning.
Okay. I was gonna say, we're Goofy's doing the boop boop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Good traction. I just it's meant to be seen once. So you mentioned though you did like alien swirling saucers. Also, hot take. Toy Story Midway Mania is kind of the forgotten attraction at the studios. And it used to be like the big mad rush every single morning. I remember so many days back in the day, like making this sprinting for that thing with the herd, it was like running of the bulls.
Yeah.
To get on that thing. And now there's so many other things to do in the studios.
There is.
I think everybody forgets it's there. Like everybody's going to Slinky Dog or Galaxy's Edge or, Mickey and Minnie's or Tower Rock and Roller Coaster. So 20
There's so much in that queue too for the kids to stay occupied.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, well, this is a great line to stand in because they were obviously just looking all around. So that worked out great. But yeah, it was pretty long, our actual Hollywood Studios day, but that day it wasn't. It was really good. It's
educational too. You gotta be like, look, I had a barrel of monkeys.
Yeah.
I've played Scrabble.
Yeah.
I don't care. At least when they're teenagers, that's what happens. Just be ready. Okay, so the next day you did Epcot and Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom that morning.
Yeah. We started out at Animal Kingdom, same thing. Got there at early entry, but it was nice since we had the Lightning Lane, single pass, and multi pass. We weren't like actually rope dropping anything. If anything, we were getting like coffee and donuts from the Joffrey stand as everyone was rope dropping, and we were just leisurely walking back to our single pass at Flight of Passage.
Okay, stop, because I don't even know what that's like. And you're speaking to because you got to remember, you're talking to a certain demographic here on the BRS podcast. Nobody in this audience. Okay, Ricky might know because she rolls in at like 1:30. She's weird. But here's the deal. Everybody listening to this, not everybody, most people listening to the show are there at 7:30 in the sprinter's pose. We're going for Flight of Passage or, running for their first attraction. You're sitting there like, oh, we're just going to go and get a Joffrey's coffee, maybe get a pink donut. We're just on vacation. What's that feel like?
Well,
that'd be awesome.
It feels great. It does come with a cost.
It does. I mean, right. Time's money on a vacation.
But we purposefully just bought all those lightning lanes and didn't look at what the total was until we were like, my husband asked me, like, did you ever look at that total? I said, nope, I'm going to look at it when I'm walking by the line of people because it'll be so much easier to stomach that way.
That's a great idea. It's like I tell my wife, I give the bill, like when we go to dinner, I give my credit card and the bill to my wife. I never look at it. I don't want to know. I just eat and she pays. So, but
it was really nice, especially with the kids. Like we weren't, if we didn't get there at that time, it was fine. But yeah, we just kind of leisurely strolled on back, and then it was time for our single pass on Flight of Passage. So we, just strolled on in, and then we had multi-pass over at Navi River Journey, and then breakfast at Tusker House.
So give us your thoughts on Tusker House, because again, I think it's a great hidden gem. But was it good for you guys?
It was. We had also just happened to have a great seat right by the buffet, which with little kids is super convenient. So we've got like one person, making 2 huge plates of food while somebody sits with the kids. So it was really convenient, really spaced out. I felt like the interactions were really good with the characters compared to some of our other character meals, because there was a lot of room for them to come around. They came around a lot. Our server was great. She really made sure that, we saw everyone and kind of gave us an update of they're over here. This character will be over here soon. My husband's like, well, we're not worried. Like, it's fine. She, some people get a little on edge about it. So she's just trying to make sure we know what's going on. But it was great. Yeah, we liked it a lot.
Nice. I haven't been there in years, but every time we went there, it was just always a great meal, and the characters were great there too. And it's just because it's so tucked away. But again, I never think about it. I don't know why. I never think about table service dining in Animal Kingdom. Like, I've never been to Tiffin's. I've done Yak and Yeti table service, but I just, it's just one of those places I just don't ever think of table service. I don't know why.
Yeah, our last trip, we didn't do any table service there, but I remember we didn't eat much that morning because you're at Animal Kingdom so early, and I felt like we were starving. So maybe a 10 a.m. breakfast would be a nice break at that park. So that's why we did that, and it all worked out great.
That's a really good call. A lot of times for breakfast, I just grab and go, and then my big meals later in the day. But that's a great call, because I think we probably did dinner at Tusker House now that I think about it. So you guys, did you take a midday break again and then go to Epcot in the evening?
We did. One more thing about Animal Kingdom while we were in Africa, I forgot the country for a second. We did, the safari and all that stuff. Of course, we decided to go over to Festival of the Lion King, and my dad had kind of walked ahead and was trying to figure out where to go. I grabbed a lightning lane for it just because we could. And the cast member there was like, oh, well, how many are in your party? And, he told him, oh, well, we're going to put you in the reserve seats. So we got to go in the side reserve seats, and then my dad was in the show and had to make the warthog noise, which completely embarrassed my sister.
Okay, so yeah, I know how that show goes. What kind of sound does a warthog make?
I'm not doing it. He made some sound that sounded like he had a cold and was coughing. I have a video of it, and I sent it to my sister. Like, I don't know what that was, but it was very entertaining for us all.
We need to call your dad right now. We're gonna okay, hello. We need a warthog sound, please, Mr. North Carolina.
But then my 6-year-old also got to go up and do the walk, when all the kids are walking around with the instruments and stuff. So that was fun. That we kind of got that little special experience for that day. So we appreciated that. I
love those, and see, those are the things too that I appreciate the cast members so much, that they just kind of look out, and that we get to share these kind of stories, right? That you had a little reserve seating, cost Disney nothing extra to have you sitting in those seats. that your dad got to get out there and have that interaction. You got to have the video that you probably shared with everybody in the family. I would have shared it with blasted it on social media. It would have been somebody that I knew, and the kids got to parade around. That's the good stuff. I mean, they're kind of running social media commercials now that are showing those kind of moments, but they've been doing that, ever since the park's been open. But it's just, I love when, a cast member has the awareness enough to say, you know what, I'm just standing here. How can I do something special for a guest? That's cool.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
It made our day.
See, that's the point. That is so cool. Okay. So real quick, how are the kids perfect age for the animals on the safari? I bet they got a kick out of that. I love that. We never talk about that attraction either. That's a huge attraction. That's so much fun.
Yeah, and we saw a ton of animals. I felt like it was more. We saw a lot on our 2021 trip. I felt like we saw a ton of animals on our, and it was like a noon safari. I know people say like, oh, early in the morning, and then like kind of like sunset later in the day that you see a lot of animals. But it was midday. We saw a lot of animals. It was a great trip.
Cool. All right, so let's talk Epcot. You guys went there later in the day.
We did. Rode the Skyliner over. We didn't have any like dinner plans or anything. Figured we'd hit some of the food and wine booths. We had qualified for the free dining plan, so we had plenty of snacks and things to eat at some of the festival booths. We grabbed some tacos and a margarita, and I think my husband grabbed some sushi somewhere. Just kind of snacked, looked around. Trying to think if there was any other we got on Frozen because we had that pass from the day before, but just kind of took it easy, walked around, ate some food, and then went back pretty early that day. We were exhausted.
That's the way to see Epcot though, right? Just go through World Showcase, have some, drink and, like I said, tacos, sushi. I mean, it's pretty much what the old planning video told you to do when you go, you visit, World Showcase, do an attraction or two, like you said, Frozen, especially you didn't have to wait, an extreme line because you had the multi-attraction pass.
Yep.
Stuff. Yeah. Perfect. Well, okay. So the next day is your Halloween party day. So I'm always interested in how you went about this day with the Halloween party. Of course, you can go into the park at 4:00 at the Magic Kingdom. So is this like a sleep-in day? Is this how do you pair this? A Disney Springs in the morning kind of? What'd you do with the day?
So we kept it really low key. We had breakfast reservations around 10 at Cape May Cafe over at Beach Club. So we kind of just slept in, took our time getting up that day, rode the Skyliner over to Beach Club, had our character breakfast there, which was good. We felt a little bit more rushed there and we were a little bit more crowded, but the food was good. And then we rode the Skyliner. I guess we went back to the resort. My parents actually, since that was their last day, they went to Hollywood Studios to ride a couple things and just kind of have some adult time. We went back to our resort and swam and did some laundry. And so we hit up the main pool that day, just kind of hung out and then made the boys lay down for some late naps.
Your plan sounds so much like what we've done at Pop Century so many times. We've done the swimming thing while doing the laundry inside the bowling shoes buildings there, right?
Yep.
Many times. I think we had that combo. And taking naps to get ready for like a big, Halloween party or Christmas party, after, we called it a staying up late party because, we don't stay up super late around here many times. So here's the thing. Did you guys have costumes? You guys dress up or did you just go and have some fun?
We had matching shirts. It was
too hot. So you're not smoking hot because some people I love their costumes, but I feel so bad for them because I'm like, oh man, you're all in, but you had to be so hot all night. I don't even know if you had fun because you're like Santa Claus,
Yeah. We just went with the matching shirts, and I guess we got to the party. It was probably between 5 and 5:30. We actually left our room at like 4 to go head to the bus, and we looked at the sky. We're like, it looks like it's about to rain. And on our way to the buses, and we hadn't eaten yet. On the way to the buses, it started pouring. So we're like, all right, new plan, head into the food court. Let's eat dinner while it rains and then we'll catch the bus. So it actually worked out. As soon as we were done eating, it was still raining a little bit, but it wasn't pouring. And we were a little nervous because the bus line then was crazy, of course, because everybody had the same idea. But I think like 2 buses rolled in right then. They were ready to get us to the party. So we got in probably about 5:15, 5:30, and it was perfect.
So walk us through how you guys went about the party because, you got the trick-or-treating going on. You have some different live entertainment experiences you can go after. You could do attractions with lower crowds, but I mean, you guys have been in the Magic Kingdom a little bit. What was, you have the parade coming up, fireworks later on in the evening. What was your strategy as far as how you went through the party?
So the two main things that I were like must-dos was to see a parade and do the fireworks. I was preferably the early parade, just in case we kind of lost the kids. They dozed off or were ready to go back. So we hit a couple. I think we hit like Teacups, Little Mermaid, Dumbo, Barnstormer, which was all things that we hadn't hit on our park day. The first day we had our trick-or-treat bags. We stopped at, if there was a stop nearby that didn't have a long line, we popped in. It wasn't our main goal. Some candy was fine. We're like, we don't need a whole nother haul. We still have like Halloween at home, which we get entirely too much candy. So that wasn't our main goal. Enough to give us some snacks for the room for the rest of the week was kind of what we were looking at there. So we stopped at we probably stopped at 5 stops that didn't have a long line, hit some of those attractions, and then it started to rain again.
Oh.
So I had the 2-year-old in the stroller, and we were walking like, well, let's just start walking and decide what we want to do. And we were walking by Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I look up and it says 15 minutes. I'm like, do you think it'll stay open? I told my husband and my son, I gave them their rain jackets. I'm like, just go try. So they ran in. I'm like, you're not going to get this short of a line. So just go.
I hope you took a picture of that sign, because I don't think I've ever seen that sign at 15 minutes ever. I mean, I was there for a media event. That's the lowest I've ever seen.
It was so quick. And I took my parents and the younger one and I went into Pinocchio Village House, and we got a snack and a table and just kind of sat and stayed dry until they were done. But within a half an hour, they were back to us, and we're like, well, it doesn't look like it's raining too bad. So let's put these raincoats on and just keep going. So we hit Peter Pan. I think that was a really short wait too. I think I timed it from the time we got in line until we got off the attraction was 25 minutes.
That's a win.
So, yeah, because we had gotten in line for it on our Magic Kingdom day, and it was taking a while, which is fine. But I have a newly potty trained 2-year-old, so it's like, you know what? It's been a while since we've been to the bathroom. I'm not staying in this line.
Good call.
Yeah, so we just did Small World instead. It was a little quicker. But yeah, so the party, we did that. Haunted Mansion was down for a while earlier in the party time, so that was a pretty long wait. So we never did get to that. But they didn't have, I think they had the rainy day parade at the 8 o'clock time, at 8:30, whatever time that parade is. So when it was raining, like, well, I'm not even going to bother getting a spot. I know I saw some posts on Facebook where people waited for that parade and then it didn't happen. So I didn't want to mess with that. I'm like, we'll just have to catch the next one, or if the kids are ready to go back, like, it is what it is. So we just kept going through, and we were kind of eyeing up the popcorn bucket lines. Like, oh, do we see a short line? We'd love to get one of those, but we're not like, we don't collect that stuff or anything. But if we get one, we get one. Hit a couple more attractions. My 2-year-old kept saying he wanted to go ride that pirate ride again.
Nice.
So we went back to Pirates. And the biggest thing with the party was if there was a big crowd in one area, if we walked to another area, there was like no one. So we walked up to Pirates and there was really nobody there. And we turned around and it was probably like all of a sudden it was this whole crowd of people came to that area. So,
you know what? Now that you say that, I have been in the Magic Kingdom where that same situation. Now I've never, like, I haven't thought about it that much, but I've had that. You say that is so true. Like, I've been where, like Fantasyland during a hard ticket event will be packed, and then I'll wander into Adventureland, nobody.
mm-hmm.
But then later on in the evening, I'll go to Tomorrowland, packed, and then I'll go back to Fantasyland, nobody. It's like it's almost like everybody's traveling in a herd for some reason.
It really was.
Break away. You're like, oh my gosh, like I need to know the secret, because why is everybody staying together? Because there's been a couple of parties I've been to, I never really thought about it, but now that you say that, that's happened to me too, where I'm like, where is everybody? But like I was, jammed in with everybody for a little while there. Yeah.
And luckily, our kids, we have season passes to our local amusement park, Hershey Park. So our kids are really used to like walking by things and be like, nope, too long, keep going. So they weren't like upset if we're like, no, we'll come back, because they know how it works. They know we'll push you back. We'll get there. Just keep powering through. So we hit Pirates. We hit Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, because we didn't do that on our day the other day. And then we got off. Well, seemed like we waited forever. Of course, when you're the one waiting for people to come off rides, it seems like you're waiting for forever. And I'm watching the time, and it's like I think fireworks are in like 10 minutes. I'm like, come on, like we got to go find a spot. But I was trying to remain calm, but it all worked out. When we walked up to the castle, I told my husband, like, just try and find a spot. He knows I don't like to be in the center of all the people. So I'm like, just do your best to find somewhere reasonable. And then the line for the popcorn buckets right there wasn't too long. So he's like, well, how about you hop in line and get a popcorn bucket and try and find us then? So I saw the beginning of the fireworks from the popcorn stand line to get my popcorn bucket. And then they actually got a spot like right in front of the castle, right towards the back of the grass. And it was great.
And so it starts with the popcorn buckets because I don't collect them either. But if you look behind me, it started with one. And now they're all over the place.
Funny because my husband is not like a Disney person. Like he'll come along, he enjoys the attractions. So he was like, "Oh, we need that popcorn bucket." And then later in the week, he came back. We were at Hollywood Studios. He came back. He was getting his lunch, and he came back with the alien sipper.
He did. You're like, you're in. No, that's awesome though, because the thing I like about this is just tangent, but I love the popcorn buckets because they're not popcorn buckets. They're just like little decorations you can put on a shelf. Like that's all they are. Because like I love the little Toy Story like truck. I had to have that thing because that Toy Story is my favorite like Pixar movie. It's just cool. When I got that on the cruise ship, I was like, oh my gosh, that's my treasure. You know, it held it like a football.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to see the fireworks. I mean, you got to see it well enough. Like you enjoyed the show, even though you had to kind of miss the beginning of them.
Yeah, and that was fine. And then we just let the kids were like dancing around in front of the castle in the grass. You know, got some cool videos and pictures of them. And I was like, all right, guys, like we have to go find a spot for this parade because they didn't have the first one, so it's going to be very crowded. So we headed back. Right, I forget what the area is called, but it's right before you get to like the Country Bears. There's a bathroom right there. We're like right across from it. But there was, of course, the parade. It was all crazy. There were so many people lined up because of not having the first one. But we were walking along and we found this spot where there was no one there, but there was a cast member standing there. I'm like, well, it looks like they'll pull the rope across there. I'm like, well, let me just go ask if we can stand here. I go over and like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, how did nobody else get this spot? I mean, everywhere else is so crowded. So we ended up standing there, and then a couple that was actually also from Pennsylvania, like, oh, they said we could go here. So they pulled in next to us and kind of hung out there too. But so we got a great viewing spot. It was right by the bathroom, which is always convenient with little kids while we waited.
Yeah.
So it all worked out. And then obviously the end of the night, we loved the parade. The end of the night, having to walk out of the park is always fun, but we expected that was the worst of it. But the buses, like they got us back to Pop. We were back walking through Pop by 12:45.
Which is, I mean, you're right. You pay the price for staying to the end of one of those events, but I mean, it's a sacrifice you make. And the next day you had a rest day, which I'm looking at your agenda, which is exactly how to play. I mean, I understand like everybody goes down, you only have X amount of days on vacation. And a lot of people don't have the luxury maybe to build in an entire rest day post Halloween party. Maybe you have a rest morning and you go to a park that afternoon and kind of continue on with your vacation. But you know, with kids your age, you know, a toddler and a little kid, you know, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, it's probably a good idea to just totally reset that next day. Looking back, was that the best plan of attack, having that rest day post Halloween?
I think it was. I mean, we might have been able to do a park later in the day, and we originally had a ticket for that. We had an extra 5-day park hopper, but then we're like, you know what? We don't need, like, let's just enjoy like some relaxation. So we decided, you know, we'll just go back again. There's no reason to fit it all into these couple days. So yeah, we took the whole next day as a rest day, and I know you'll appreciate our rest day morning. We woke up, placed our mobile order for Primo Piatti. Hopped on the Skyliner, went and picked it up, sat by the tables by the water there, watched the Skyliner go by as we ate our breakfast. So,
if people are listening to this on their Monday morning, getting ready to go to work, we're all picturing that in our minds, how great that would be to do right now, like to have breakfast at mobile order Primo Piatti. I'm picturing my Madame Croque, which I can't talk today for some reason. I've been working with this hurricane all week. We're recording this one obviously a little bit early. I'm wore out. I'm frazzled. And the thing is, picturing that, because I've done that even from Caribbean Beach when I've stayed there. I sit there and eat outside there from the food
Oh, yeah.
court at Caribbean Beach. You just watch those little colored Skyliner buckets go by and the water, and it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, you just pictured like a Rembrandt painting for a Disney fan right there, and like the
Yeah.
best food, the best breakfast sandwich or whatever, what have you. Oh my gosh,
It was perfect.
you're killing people. We're grinding away, and you're lucky if you had a bowl of Cocoa Puffs this morning, but we're doing what we can. So that was a rest day. You guys got and then you got jumped back in at the next Epcot again on the following day. So what'd you do with that day?
So that day, we did the same thing as Animal Kingdom, where we had the, we got in early and got our Joffrey's coffee and donuts and watched the Remy line go crazy. And we just waited for our Remy Lightning Lane at 9:10, I think it was. So we walked through the countries, which is actually really nice with little kids to walk through the countries when they're not actually open. So my 6-year-old was really into that stuff, but he couldn't see much when they were so crowded. So we could kind of just walk through all the crevices and explore them. Pick out places where maybe we wanted to go back to later. But he was actually able to really see a lot of the things, that the outside of the buildings and stuff, and talk a little bit about each country. So we walked through maybe 3 countries and then headed back to Remy's. And I'm trying to think what we did after that. I think we went to the Mexico Pavilion to do, I never say it right, to do the boat ride. My 6-year-old corrects me every time I say it. So 3 caballeros.
Yeah, I still call it El Rio del Tiempo because I'm old. It was stuck in my mind. But yeah, you're right. 3 caballeros.
Yeah, my 6-year-old likes to actually watch the shows with that, like the old. He's really
there you go. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. So we had to hit that, and then we had, I guess I forgot, on our previous Epcot day when my parents were there, we had a single pass for Guardians of the Galaxy. So we all got to do that. My 6-year-old is not a thrill seeker at all. And he did it. And after, he's like, I didn't know it was going to be like that.
In a good way or a bad way? Like, was it too much, or was it like just
that day? It was too much. He could have gone again on rider swap. And he's like, I don't think I want to do it again. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But on our Epcot day, we had gotten a virtual.
I don't need the rider swap. I'm good.
My husband wanted to go on it again. So we got virtual queue. And I mean, everything for this trip, it was almost like too good to be true. Like, I was a little nervous. I told him, like, we can get this virtual queue, but it might be during the nap time that we're planning on going back for. Like, I don't know. It came like right when we had I'm like, oh, well, it's time and we have nothing to do. And it's like 10 a.m. So we walked over, and on our walk over there, my 6-year-old says, yeah, I'm going to do it again. I'm like, oh,
hello.
Okay. And we did the rider swap. I'm like, he's not going to do it again with me. And he came off. He's like, yep, let's go. And we actually they sent us to the front row. I'm like, oh gosh, is he okay with this? He's like, this is awesome. So that was his favorite thing about the whole trip.
Well, see, 6-year-olds, you never know.
And he's very, very timid with rides. So I really wasn't sure, but he was all about it.
Huh. See, that's awesome though, because, there's like, it just shows like kids, if they give things a shot, they can kind of grow. They can, you just got to give something a chance.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, and I'm sure that you guys will have those stories of that experience riding Guardians of the Galaxy forever. I mean, that's one of those things like you just don't forget. Like that's a story right there. First time, no, I'll pass. And then, hours later, a day later, hey, let's rock. Let's go. Let's walk through the universe. I love it.
Yeah. So then, of course, we felt like we had to buy him something in the gift shop there because he was so brave. So we got a Star-Lord helmet. We did some photo pass pictures out there. I think, the skies looked like it was about to rain again. So we're like, let's book it to the Skyliner and get back. It's like, it's about nap time anyways. So let's just head on back and, go relax before it rains. And then we headed back that evening, and we had dinner at Tepanito, which was great.
I love that place. I haven't been there in a while, but I love that place.
I was a little nervous because, like, sometimes kids are just unpredictable at restaurants. I'm like, and the people that got sat with us, it was all adults. Like,
see that like when you are a family with kids, you're like, please sit us, because again, that's family style, because you got the hibachi style. Like, you didn't want to be with it like another family with kids, kind of. You just don't like. Your luck, like if you sit there with like people in suits, right? You're just like, no, please, I got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. But again, those things are so crazy. Who cares, right? The guys,
and they were great,
making the train and all that, right?
Yeah. So that was all good, and we just I think we did like Turtle Talk, Nemo. Just kind of took it easy, but did lots of good stuff. We did watch the fireworks show that evening. That was the only one we actually watched, because getting back to the resort with kids at that time of night is rough if you have to wait. So we tried not to do that too much.
Skyliner though does help with that from Epcot. At least you can.
It does.
Because even if there's, I've been there in crazy nights. I mean, crazy nights. But going back to Pop, because I've waited in a line all the way across the bridge towards well, now it's Cake Bake Shop. Back then it was the former ESPN club. Like on that bridge going back that way, that's where the line started. But it was people so fast.
Yeah,
it wasn't horrible. So even on a normal night, you can get back pretty quick, even if you.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of the fireworks show though over at Epcot?
We liked it. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a super good view, and we did start walking right before they ended just to kind of get where we needed to go. But we liked it. The kids liked it, and then we actually watched it the next night from the Skyliner, so that was fun too.
Very cool. You guys doing it right. We vacation a lot similarly. I like this. Okay, so your last day, it looks like you kind of split the day between the studios and Epcot. So how'd you wrap it up?
So we hit Hollywood Studios. We did actually go in and rope drop a ride that day.
There you go. Okay. Good. We got one. Okay, last day.
Since Mickey and Minnie's went down when we were on it, and my 6-year-old, when are we going on Mickey and Minnie's? When are we going on Mickey and Minnie's? So we're like, all right, well, let's just hit that first. And then we had Lightning Lanes for Slinky Dog. We hit Alien Swirling Saucers again, because that's always a hit with the kids. Toy Story Mania. And then we walked over to the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. My boys love cars. And since it was closing 3 days after that, 4 days after, whatever, a couple days after that, we had to do that. So we did that. And then when I was making the Lightning Lane reservations, I had made one for Tower of Terror, just because my husband had never been on it. It was only his second time in Disney. And I'm like, oh, I'll just make it for that. We'll see if we get on it, whatever. It doesn't matter. And so my sister was like, what's our next one? And I told him, and he is like, he's timid on rides. He does not like spooky things. So I thought he'd be like, I'm not going on that. He's like, all right, let's go.
Well, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is in his back pocket at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the world's his oyster. Yeah,
so he went on Tower of Terror, and he didn't hate it, but he did not want to do the rider swap.
You got to give him an extra day. See, if you'd have stayed a couple more days, he'd have been all about it. You got to give him that 24 hours. And then
that's what we said. He probably would have if it was a different day, but we didn't push it. I'm like, I'm pretty impressed that you did all this. So I'm trying to think if we did anything else. I think we just grabbed lunch, got some treats, hit some shops, and then went back to rest before that evening. We went to Epcot, and we had some snacks to use up from our dining plan. And the best use that we had for those was to just go and buy snacks around at the food booths for food and wine. We got like a shrimp skewer and a Belgian waffle with some berries, and we had some really good snacks that obviously were covered under the dining plan. So that's a great tip. If anybody, there should be none left. You can go use them all kinds of good stuff there.
If you leave with credits unused on the dining plan, I'm going to come find you, because that's a crime against humanity. That's terrible. I mean,
we had none left.
Do not.
We also had dinner reservations that night at Garden Grill. So we were kind of having an appetizer before going to Garden Grill. But with the dining plan, we're like, well, we might as well just go eat. It's fine.
I mean, you got to use it, right? I mean, you got to use it. Do Belgian waffles. All those sounds like the booth back there by France, right?
Yes.
Morocco. Oh, not that I've been there a few times, but happen to know what you're talking my language there. So real quick, Garden Grill. I mean, character meal there. The restaurant rotates. I'm sure kids probably and it's not real fancy food. I'd imagine that's my jam. I don't know about
it was really, the food was delicious. Turkey, steak, the mashed potatoes were amazing. The mac and cheese was delicious. It was a great meal, and the characters came around to our table probably 4 different times. So it was one of the best character interactions we had. Without the only character we waited to meet the whole trip was Pluto, and obviously he was coming around again anyways. But my 2-year-old was really into Pluto. But by the end of the trip, my 2-year-old was finally hugging characters. After they come around 4 times, he was real into it. So that was fun, and worth it to get that experience with them rather than waiting in line for some of the lines for the characters got pretty long.
They come around 4 times, they're practically family at that point.
Exactly, yeah. But no, it was all great. We had a great trip, and now we're just trying to decide where to stay next time we go.
It's exactly what we're all doing. We're like, okay, what's next? Do I go to Coronado? Because I saw them, I book travel for that's what I do every day, all day, right? And I have people that have trips booked out, October of 2025, and they're like, Mike, let me know as soon as we get beyond, October 31st, 2025. I need to book December. I'm like, I'll let you know. I haven't booked my own hotel room for Marathon weekend yet. Like, I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, I'm the worst. Like, I don't know. Pop Century's probably sold out. I'm terrible for myself. So I thing though, like, I'm like, where do I want to go? Is it Coronado? Yeah. That's where I went last year, and it's awesome. But do I want to try something different? I haven't been to French Quarter for a few. But that's what I love about Disney, right? I could go crazy, don't stay at music or something and save some money, or I could maybe not tell my wife and stay at like Animal Kingdom Lodge or something. She pictures, like I can't do that on my social media all the time. But it is fun because you have so many options, and it kind of makes the whole thing fun just to daydream. Daydreaming is half the fun, I think.
Yeah, so, for sure.
So as we wrap up though, any tips or anything you would give anybody as they're planning trips here, maybe for next year, this fall, or even going through this season, because this is such a current show, because you have toddlers. Anything you learn for parents of toddlers too, that, something that somebody's going down for the first time with younger kids, hey, this could save them, something like that?
I think the biggest thing was really, capitalize on the character dining instead of, waiting in line, because it wasn't something like if we showed them, here's the line. They weren't interested in waiting in that, but character dining was a good opportunity, especially if they're under 3, because then you're not paying for them. That's what we're like, next trip we got to pay for them. Like, this is completely different.
Well, because Disney's going to get you for the next 90 years. So take advantage of the first 2.
Yeah. Other than that, I would just say, I know it can be easy to think like, oh, we paid all this money to be here. We need to be in the parks all the time. We don't want to miss anything. And if it's the only time you'll ever go, I certainly understand that. But we kind of try and treat a little bit more of, we can come back. We don't need to see everything. Let's prioritize not losing it and getting the kids some air conditioning, getting them, a snack, getting them a nap, because everyone is happier when your kid is fed and when they've taken a nap. So if that's what we have to do, it just makes for a better trip overall. So
my wife says that about her husband, but
well, that's I also do it for Mike. If he sat in the air conditioning and had a nap and watched a show for 30 minutes, he's happier too. So it all works out for me.
My wife tries to keep me fed, and if I have a nap, I'm a lot nicer in the evening. So that's a 2-year-old and a 50-year-old. I don't know if there's much difference, but Katelyn, nope. What a great trip. It's been so much fun, and what a great way to start the week here as we kind of roll out to school and to work, and everybody maybe on a run today. So thanks for taking the time, and I hope your family has a wonderful fall up in Pennsylvania. Again, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks.
All right. Don't forget, our show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get to your favorite Disney destination, whether it's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney. We can do that for no additional cost to you. That's the best deal out there of anything. So check out all the details this week over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. We could not do this without you. And you can support us as well. Just $5 a month. And for that, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over this week. Check it out. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. Would love to talk to you this week. I share sports. I share Disney stuff, all kinds of stuff on the social media. So come on over. It's Be Our Guest Mike, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And we'll have our live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Scotty G joins me. We open up the phone lines. It's your show. You call in. You're a part of the show. We talk all kinds of Disney topics. It'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So pick your destination. We'll be there, and we'll be waiting for your call. So join us on Sunday night. Finally, the conversation never stops in the BOGP Clubhouse. It's our little place where we all get together, listeners of the show. No ads, no nonsense. It's like a Cheers. We just hang out there all the time. Join us this week. beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. All right, time to get out of here and let you get on with your week. I hope it's a great one for you. So for Katelyn up in Pennsylvania, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Well, it looks like Katelyn's gone, but about to sneeze. I made it through without sneezing. Woo! I was holding back a sneeze that whole time. All right. So everybody that is in Florida, you guys stay safe. I'm watching the Weather Channel here during the show. Man, I was about to sneeze and I still am now. Get rid of that spider. Looks like the eye wall's coming in at Tampa. So Jay and everybody stay safe. We're praying for you tonight. Big time. Kim's down there. Everybody, all of our friends, do stay safe. We'll be checking in on you. Let us know on social media that you're okay. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe. Bye-bye.